all that. Okay, well, you can imagine what happens at home. I am always dancing. She makes me dance all the time. That's why I'm still fit. If not, I would be in the wheelchair by now. Okay, well, we are going to look at the authentic assessment. What is really authentic assessment? What is authentic assessment? And that's what we are going to see. I'm not going to go all the nitty-gritties of making the different kinds of questions, but I'm going to show you how things work with authentic assessment. And that is part of our lesson today. Okay, so now let's see how it's not moving. Oh, I did not put. Yeah. All right. Authentic assessment, meaningful application of essential knowledge and skills in the real world. Now, this is the important part. Authentic assessment is not only trying to find out whether they learned the lesson, but how does it apply in the real world. That's what our students must learn. Whether what we teach them, whether what we are practicing or activities that we are doing in the classroom, are they essential in the practical world? Are they applicable in the practical world? If they are not applicable in the practical world, then why are we learning those things? What is the purpose of giving them the ideas? We must know whether the knowledge they are gaining is actually practical, is actually workable, and makes them better people. So that is the definition of authentic learning. That means what should happen? That they should know how to apply it, and they should know how to transfer the knowledge. Transferring knowledge also is important. Not only applying, like if you are teaching them how to repair a Toyota car, good. They are learning how to fix the Toyota car, and they do all the nitty-gritties of all those fixtures that go into the machine. But can they transfer that knowledge to fix a Honda car? Can they transfer that knowledge they learned in another fittings? So they should be able to transfer the knowledge also. And that's why authentic learning is application of knowledge, not only in that specific area, but to transfer it to other areas also. And that's what we are supposed to teach in the classroom. And nowadays, if you look carefully, the textbooks that are made for every, I do not know how it is made here, but in different countries that I have been, especially in the United States and in India, that's where I come from, they have all the exercises at the back of the lesson. What they have learned, they test the knowledge, then they give the different propositions as to how this information is applicable in the areas that they are learning, and then how it is transferred to the different areas also. So all those questions are there at the back of every lesson, so that the transfer is important. Knowing the application now and the transfer to other areas as well. So this is important. So whenever a textbook is written, that's what they are expecting nowadays. The textbook should reflect all that information. Let us do authentic assessment now. Just an example of authentic assessment. I am not going to go through all kinds of examples. This is just one example of authentic assessment. Here, step 1. Set goal, learning outcome, and purpose. In authentic assessment, we should have goal, learning outcomes, and purpose. Now, I am going to give a goal for one of the examples. Okay? One example I am taking, and I am going to set a goal for that one. Here it is. Goal is student learn mensuration. You know what is mensuration? Mensuration, yes. Mensuration is a mathematical term for finding circumference or the perimeter of objects or areas volumes. So when you want to find area of something, if you want to find the perimeter of something, the fencing, if you want to find the volume of some objects, all that comes under mensuration. This is the topic. The goal is learning mensuration. Okay, and then let us see what is the learning outcome. The learning outcome is going to be finding cost using areas. Now we are not going to learn all mensuration now. We are going to find out how to find a cost of area covered. Like if you want to paint a wall, how much will it cost? If you know the area of the wall, how much will it cost? Or if you want to make a path, how much will the path cost? Okay, so that is what is the learning outcome. And then the purpose, solve problems of paving paths using areas of rectangles. Now we are coming to the rectangle only. So that will be our purpose. How to find paving paths around the rectangular area. How to find rectangular area path. So this is now authentic assessment. Now next, step 2 now. We'll go to step 2. Give performance tasks to assess learning outcomes. That means now we want to go to do the performance task. And we are going to ask students how this performance can be done. How are you going to do this particular problem? So here is the performance. How many of you like swimming? We ask the students. How many of you like swimming? And some of them will say, yes, I know. Some will say, I don't know how to swim. But then there are people who will say, yeah, swimming is good. How many of you like swimming? Okay, now here is a question. Suppose, now in my slides you will find all the PowerPoint rules will be broken here. Okay, so 6 lines and 6 words and all, nothing is here. Okay, and the colorful slides, 4 colors, not more than that or less. It is all black and white. Okay, all right. So this is my style. Suppose you are given some money and asked to pave a path around a rectangular swimming pool. So there is a rectangular swimming pool and there is a path around it. Okay, you are supposed to make a path around the rectangular pool. Do you think you can do the job and get paid for it? We are asking the students. Would you like to get paid for the job? And they are excited. If money is involved, I am going to get money. I want to know how to do that. Okay, so paid for it. Let us write on the board your suggestions on how to do it. Now here is the thing, authentic assessment. We are giving them the chance. Write on the board one by one, you come and say how we can do it. Tell your ideas. Now they may give wrong ideas, never mind. Let them write it down. Let them give all the answers that they are. I will do this, I will do that, I will measure the length of the rectangular tank and then I will do this. Or some will say, I will first ask for the money, give me the money first, then we'll talk about it. Or some funny answers will come. Never mind, let them write everything and then we'll assess whether the answers are correct or not by doing the actual job, actual calculation. Okay, so this is what happens in step 2. Then going to step 3, here are the dimensions of the rectangular pool. Now you give the dimensions, the rectangular pool. Length 50 meters, breadth 10 meters. The path around the pool is to be 1 meter wide. Okay, 1 meter wide path around the pool. If the cost, it will cost you $50 per square meter to pave it. What will be the total cost? What will be the total cost? So what are we doing now? We are let us draw a diagram based on the question. So you ask the students, draw the diagram. How the pool will be, how the path will be, write the length, write the breadth, and let us see the cost we'll find out afterwards. So let them draw themselves. Some of them will draw it correctly, some will draw it wrong, some will draw it in a funny shape, but you have to say that it is a rectangle. We know what is a rectangle. Draw the rectangular pool. Then we have here. Step 3. Develop and implement a unit of study that will prepare students for the task. So, students should be prepared ahead of time. to handle this kind of areas, handle this kind of situation. That is, they should know what is the meaning of rectangle. They should know what is length means, what breadth means. So all these things are done earlier because those are the lessons, the preliminary lessons that are done ahead of time. So that is the task that they should know ahead of time, some of the things. Okay. Then next is prepare a lesson plan to teach areas of rectangles. Now they should have the rectangular, how to find the area of the rectangle. Length multiplied by breadth gives us the area of the rectangle. L times B. Length multiplied breadth gives the area of the rectangle. So this is what they have already studied. Okay. Then step 4, design scoring procedure. How will you score? Okay, like for example, prepare rubrics. Now I am going to show you the rubrics later in the next set of assessment. How to prepare rubrics for these things. Okay, but now we will not have rubrics here. The rubric for assessment of, now these are the rubrics for different things, not for this particular thing. They are talking about rubrics for portfolio, exhibition, performance, investigation, experimentation, journal, presentation, debate, more than one possible solution, and reflection. So we are not going to do all these rubrics here. We are going to talk only about, more than one possible solution, the last one. More than one possible solution and reflection on that. Okay, more than one. So the other things can be for different things, like communication, like collecting of information and all that. The rubrics will be there for that. But now we are talking only about more than one possible solution. How can we get more than one possible solution? And that is authentic assessment. That not only thinking how to get it one way, is it possible to do another way? Is there a third way of doing the same thing? Can we come to the same answer by doing different procedures? That's what. So we are challenging the mind of the student that not only there is one way to do it, there are more than one ways to do this. And this is what we are going to see that. So more than one possible solutions and reflection. Here you are to encourage students learning styles and multiple intelligence. So learning styles will come. Some children learn with diagrams. Some students have experimentation. They want to try different procedures. And so we will use different learning styles and help them to understand this better using their abstract random or concrete sequential or the other types, which you have to give them. Yesterday I showed you how are the different ways we can help students in their preferred learning style. So we can provide them information in preferred learning styles by giving them visual or giving them challenging assignment or giving them ways to draw it and so on and so forth. So this is the design scoring procedure. Then here is the scoring procedure for this particular thing. What will you tell the students? If drawing the diagram, 2 points. Writing the numerical dimensions on the diagram, 2 points. Getting the single solution, 2 points. You get the solution for describe the thinking. Now this is the important part. You tell us how you came to that particular idea. You tell me, please explain how you came to that particular solution. So if they are able to explain their thinking process, which is very important, because thinking process, if they reflect on, they know how to apply it to the next problem, because they have reflected on their thinking process. So thinking process is important. Then diagram for another solution. Now we are saying you got one solution. Is there any other solution for this same question? Is there any other way we can get the same answer? Then getting the answer. Describe the thinking again for the second solution that they get. If they get the second solution, what is the thinking process? Why did you change your idea now? But you got the same solution. How did you do it? And all that. And then any other third solution possible? Like that 14 points are there for each thing. And then points earned. If the student is able to do each of them, this is a rubric now. Points earned for that particular assignment. Drawing the diagram out of 2, how much? Writing out of 2, how much? So for each one of them, how much will each child get for this particular exercise. Then we have step 5. Introduce the